It is 4 p.m. We're redeveloping news and the stories behind the headlines. This is Story on the Story Conference. I'm Ed Lingao. Some stories are watching this Tuesday, February 10. Senate Blue Ribbon Committee Chairman Senator Ping Lacson says the panel has agreed to revise the language used in its draft partial report on the flood control anomaly. Instead of pushing for the immediate filing of cases, the panel will instead recommend a preliminary investigation or a case buildup involving Senators Chis Escudero, Joel Villanueva, and Jinggoy Estrada. Lacson adds he is confident the report will get at least 11 signatures. House Secretary General Cheloy Garafil confirms that the third impeachment complaint against VP Sara Duterte has been transmitted to the office of House Speaker Bogie D. The complaint was filed by religious groups and lawyers on Monday. They cited grounds including betrayal of public trust and graft and corruption. The first two were filed by the Makabayan Bloc and civil society groups. Philippine Coast Guard spokesman Jay Tariela refuses to apologize for his use of caricatures of Chinese President Xi Jinping. Tariela says the caricatures reflect China's aggression in the West Philippine Sea. He also challenges Senator Alan Peter Cayetano for pressing him to apologize while not demanding China own up to harassment of Filipino fishermen and Coast Guard vessels in disputed waters. Former Speaker Jose de Venecia, or JDV, has passed away at the age of 89. The news was confirmed by his wife, Pangasinan Congressman Gina de Venecia. The cause of his death has not been disclosed. And joining us today, Ami Pamintuan, ng Editor-in-Chief ng Philippine Star. Ami, kamusta kayo dyan sa Paranaque?
Oo nga, tayong dalawa lang yung ano, no?
Oo.
Wala yung mga kasama natin.
Si Reg is indisposed, nasa principal's office ata.
Oo.
Si Ronald is somewhere in Japan. We haven't gotten in touch with him yet. We tried earlier pero hindi pa sumasagot eh. Pero kagabi...
Wanted ka mo siya ni Alan Peter.
Pero kagabi, sumagot siya doon sa programa ng One News na The Big Story. Nakapag-live Q&A siya doon with Ces Dilon. Let me try to review some of the pertinent things he said. Jan, correct lang pag may mali ha. Okay. Ang sinabi niya among others, number one, never daw siya nagbago ng kanyang pananaw o paninindigan as far as the arbitral ruling, as far as the case that was filed with the Permanent Court of Arbitration or PCA. So hindi raw totoo na nagbago siya ng kanyang pananaw.
Pero ang sinasabi ni Alan Peter that before the filing of the case, yung sinasabi ni Alan Peter.
That's what he was trying to address. Sabi niya, he never changed his position before or during or after. He was consistent daw. That's what he's saying. Number two, ang sabi niya, bakit naman ako lalapit kay Alan Peter para humingi ng suporta from senators to convince Pinoy? When first of all daw, hindi si Alan Peter daw was in the minority during that time. So he's not in a position to rally the senators. Number two, galit kay Alan Peter daw si Pinoy at that time, so he's not the right person to approach to convince Pinoy to change his mind kasi tinawag daw siyang abnoy. So, yun ang sabi niya sana sa programa. So napaka-incredible daw yung kwentong yun kasi bakit naman daw sila lalapit kay Alan Peter to convince the senators or Pinoy not to pursue the arbitration with the Permanent Court of Arbitration sa The Hague. So,
pero hindi niya babawiin yung senador.
Hindi ka lang alam kung napag-usapan nila yun.
Yun ang kinagagalit niya. Nag-stick daw yung name sa kanila. Yun ang kinagagalit nila, Alan Peter.
So yun, basically, nang sinabi ni Rol Llamas last night doon sa the programang The Big Story, you can find it, yung mga nanonood, you can find it online pa. It's on YouTube and it's on the One News website, the entire interview with Ces Dilon and the other anchors of The Big Story. And sabi ni Ronald, he stands by their position na they were for the arbitration.
Mm.
And that he never doubt changed his mind. So, yun ang kanyang yun ang kanyang sagot dun sa mga sinabi ni Senator Alan Peter Cayetano.
In the meantime, nagsasagutan pa rin yung Senate saka yung Chinese Embassy. Pero lumambot yung resolution wala ng persona non grata.
Yeah, well, at least it's a start, di ba? There's a middle ground that both parties can find while still standing on their respective positions. Yun.
Oo. Walang may expel na diplomat. Kaya ngayong araw, kinondemn ng embassy yung condemnation.
Oo nga. Never ends.
Condemn the condemnation.
It never ends. The excitement here never ends.
Pero yung actually, ako alam ko, merong mga talks na yan to improve relations. Although nagpunta dito yung si Chinese ambassador binisita niya kami. Sabi ko sa kanya bakit nyo kasi kinakanyon yung namin? Wina-water cannon nyo yung mga ng mangingisda namin.
Ano sagot?
Sabi niya hindi nga weapons grade yun sabi niya
But that's hardly reassuring.
Tapos sabi niya, why do you keep provoking us? Sabi ko, you should not get provoked.
but provocation is a relative term. Are we provoking them by going to our EEZ, or are they provoking us by preventing us from going to our EEZ?
Hindi, provoking to hit us with the water cannon. Sabi ko, wag kayong magpa-provoke. Saka sabi ko, hindi maganda yung kapag ganyan, di ba? Talo lagi yung hindi magbabago yung posisyon ng mga hardline yung posisyon natin dalawa sana Diyan sa maritime conflict Pero it's interesting that we can talk about it openly. Hindi off the record yan, that's why I can talk about it.
Okay. When are you have you published that interview?
Yung hindi namin sa sa print lang, sa print.
Yeah. So you're doing a print.
Hindi siya video.
You're doing
Hindi siya video. Ginawa ko sa column ko.
Okay.
Ginawa ko sa column ko.
Sana binidyo mo na rin, tapos nilagay mo sa website ninyo.
Oo nga Hindi ko alam na ganun siya ka-open First time kami nag-meet
maganda yun kasi...
siguro interviewin ko na lang siya.
I don't remember him sitting down yet for one-on-one.
Yeah.
You could have been the first.
Saka siya, he's so open. He's so open. Kaya alam ko nga he's had several meetings already with President Marcos na hindi napapublicize. Yung isa daw parang family gathering pa Sila lang daw ni Mary Kay Carlson ang ambassadors doon. It was a family gathering. Sabi ko, talo mo pa ibang kamag-anak ni Presidente.
Talo niya si Amy.
Mga uninvited, Hindi, pati si Speaker Romualdez, hindi na daw nagpupunta sa mga
Oo naman, di mo naman makita yun At least not much.
Hindi, he came out ngayon. Yung salakas CMD. He came out, he issued a statement na supporting the agenda and to support Speaker Bo GG.
Okay.
Meron siyang ganong ngayon.
Wait, did I get you right again? The Chinese ambassador said that why is the Philippines provoking China into water cannoning?
Yan ang namin, hindi lang one-on-one, nandito sila issue. Yeah. Sabi ko, kasi kayo, tinitira nyo kami ng water cannon, ng let-let ng mga bangka namin. Tapos siya nasabi niya, why are you? Kasi kayo, pinoprovoke nyo kami. At saka sabi niya nga, hindi naman the weapons grade John.
Okay.
Kaya tinanong ko, are we on the record, Ambassador? Sabi niya, yeah, we're on the record.
Okay.
That's why I can tell you.
Is that paraphrasing, or is that more or less what he said?
That's more or less what he said. Nandito siya nung last week pa yan. Last week. Kami yung unang-una niyang binisitang
Okay.
So Wednesday pa yata. That was Wednesday.
Okay.
Last week.
But how are we provoking them daw into water cannoning us?
Kasi ewan ko, hindi ko na kinuha yung detalye at dumidikit tayo. Bakit tayo nagpupunta doon? They're insisting na
That,
of course, they are
they have indisputable
doubling
sovereignty.
down on their yung maritime claims nila, oo. Yan, hindi magbabago. In fact, yun ang takbo ng usapan namin eh. How can we proceed with other aspects of the relationship na hindi naman sineset aside yung attempt to resolve the dispute. Kaya ganun ang takbo. Kaya open na open yung discussion namin eh. Ganun ang sabi niya. Na yun na nga. Tapos yun na nga. Napag-usapan namin yung kasama niya nga yung dalawang yung subject ng ng resolution ng Senate na gusto sanang ipersona ng Grata. That was the deputy spokesperson, kasama niya dito. Saka yung spokesperson ngayon na nag-i-issue ng statement, kasama niya rin dito. They were speaking openly. Although ang pinaka-message nila pagpunta rito, we want to improve relations, we want to explore areas where we can cooperate. Sabi niya, we want to explore areas where we can cooperate. Nag-propose sila, sabi niya, there are 4 areas. In fact, meron na daw proposal from our side, pero meron siyang, this can go 4 ways. Sabi niya, we can manage the no talk, no fighting, less talk. Tapos yung find areas of cooperation. Yung finding areas of cooperation, sabi niya, meron na nga daw pre-post din kahit ang Philippine side na possible areas of cooperation such as environmental protection, cleaning up the ocean. So merong ganyang hugot, no? Saka yung hindi niya sinabi, alam ko, our side is working on inviting Xi Jinping to attend the ASEAN Summit. Isa yan sa mga Saka sabi niya nga, yun, sinasabi din nila, since we are hosting ASEAN this year, it's a good time, it's a good year to explore areas of cooperation between China and Yun nga lang, open na open kami, pinag-uusapan namin, yung mga pinag-aawayan natin. Sabi ko, syempre, hindi naman masesermonan ng presidente yung Coast Guard, because talagang ganyan dito. Pinag-usapan namin yung clash ng democracy, ng party nila. Sabi namin, dito sa Pilipinas, we insult everybody eh. Kasi sila, di ba? Galit sila, ininsulto si Xi Jinping. Kami kasi dito, ganun kami eh. Sabi niya, although, ang point niya, official yung si Tariela eh, bakit hindi niya pagalitan? Sabi niya, no, sabi niya, kung sa Thailand dyan, less majesty na yan, di ba? Bawal, makukulong ka pag ginano mo yung
Thailand has specific laws on less majesty.
Iba yun, saka iba yung system nun. Saka sabi ko, tingnan mo, galing siya sa Amerika. He stayed for 23 years as a diplomat, a Chinese diplomat in the US. Sabi ko, tingnan nyo nga dun sa US kung paano lait-laitin kahit sino, sarili nilang presidente. Sabi ko, we insult everybody, including our president, including nakikita nyo naman, lahat ng official dito. Kaya ganyan. Kaya lang, yun ang point niya. Si Tariela is a government official. Sabi ko, but anyway, they are already talking with marami na daw mga talks between officials, different levels. At yun na nga, kinakausap sila ni President Marcos. While at the same time, alam naman niya, the President has already said publicly, I am for all the statements of, hindi ba? The President is supporting the statements of Philippine officials. President Marcos has never condemned Tariela, di ba?
Not the President, not even Malacanang or the spokespersons of Malacanang.
No one. Kahit DFA. Although, yun nga, rejected. Nung tinanong daw, de-declare mo bang persona non grata? Sinabi ni Claire Castro, di ba? Sabi kagad ni Presidente, it was a terse no. No. Kaya ganon.
Well, yung persona non grata naman may be an unnecessary step already. Kasi iba na yun eh. Sa uli na yun ng kandila eh.
Sabi nga niya sa amin, nung nandun daw siya sa US, ilang beses naman, meron nga daw silang mga embassy personnel na persona non grata sa US, kaya sanay naman daw siya sa ganyan mga Kasi pag-upo niya rito, yan na kagad sumalubong sa kanya, mga ganyan eh. Although yung deputy spokesperson na nakikipag-away, hindi siya. Sabi niya, kung ano-ano daw inabot nila doon nung nandun siya sa US eh. Di ba? Inaway ni Trump yung TikTok, yung Huawei. In-expel, Di ba? Yung balloon, yung hot air balloon.
The balloon was shot down by an F-22.
Oh, yun, sabi niya. Kaya sanay naman daw siya. Pero, since he's a diplomat, ang mission daw niya dito is to improve bilateral relations. Yan. Yan naman, pare-pareho sinasabi nila.
I'm surprised hindi pa ginagawang headline yung yung sinabi niya na
kasi sumabay yun dun sa Sumabay nga yun dun sa impeachment Nilabas namin siya, pero nandun lang siya. Ang lalaki ng istorya ng dato sa last Wednesday.
diba?
Yun yung impeachment. Malalaki ang mga istorya nun hindi namin na-headline.
China blames
Pero
Philippines.
nilabas agad namin siya.
China blames Philippines on water cannoning incident. Says it was provoked by Philippine
Hindi, lagi
side.
naman nila sinasabi yun, that we are provoking them. Pero yung sa water cannon,
Yung weapons grade.
ay yung weapons grade, sinabi na rin nila yun, pati yung sa laser. Pati sa laser, sinabi na nila yun noon Nung nagreklamo tayo, yun kagad ang sagot nila. Hindi naman weapons grade yung laser na yan, hindi naman malakas yung water cannon na yan. Iba nagkaroon pa nga ng usapan noon na bakit hindi din tayo maglagay ng water cannon sa Coast Guard vessel natin or Navy. Dahil nga doon sa sinasabi nila. Na total, civilian use yan Di gamitin din natin yung ng bombero natin. Di ba? Merong ganong mga hugot.
Then it becomes a contest of who has the bigger hose.
Oo nga. Saka mabusan tayong tubig.
Diba? So it no longer becomes a debate on who's in the right and who's in the wrong, but who has the bigger hose.
Pag magsi-sit down kami, paulit ko yung sinabi niya.
Oo, ganda yung book. Anyway,
Open na open siya. It's very open
we have Mojo from the Senate, si Merimon, reporting to us live.
Yes.
Mobile journalist Merimon Reyes joins us from the Senate. Merimon, anong balita sa Senado?
Bok, Ami, so magandang hapon. So far kanina, nakapanayam ng media si Senate Blue Ribbon Committee Chair Ping Lacson at ang nasabi niya tungkol doon sa partial and official committee report, kung matatapos daw yun today kasi fina-finalize daw nila yung draft, pero confident naman na makakagather ng at least 11 signatures si Senator Ping. Hopefully by tomorrow, mai-route na ito sa minority kasi so far majority pa lang din daw ito napapaikot and sa kanila rin nanggaling yung suggestion na is-soften daw yung language, yung ilang words na ginamit, particularly doon sa listahan ng mga pakakasuhan. Ang sabi kasi dito ni Senator Ping, yung usapan daw ng connotation, halimbawa, yung salitang charged or to be charged kapag sa layman's term daw o sa ordinaryong Pilipino, parang may isip daw nun, may kaso na raw sa korte. So, imbes na yun nang gagamitin, ang possible na changes na mangyayari, recommended for further investigation, for to undergo fact-finding investigation, to undergo case build-up. Yun yung pinaka nakikita ni na Senator Ping na babaguhin. Pero hindi nito mababago yung pinaka-rasyonale ng committee report. Hindi nito na weaken daw yung committee report. Binago lang talaga yung language sa ilang bahagi.
Hindi ba, wala bang nagsasabi sa kanya na Well, I'm sure he is aware of the criticism na parang nawa-water down yung report ng Blue Ribbon, for political accommodation. Meron ba siyang ganong reaction sa mga criticism?
Ami, ang sabi nga dito ni Senator Ping, yung sa connotation, language use lang daw ang nabago, pero hindi naman daw nawi-weaken or hindi humihina yung committee report. Pero patungkol doon sa listahan ng mga pangalan, especially sa mga senador, kapag ka meron daw gustong pabaguhin, pabawasan o padagdagan yung pangalan doon sa recommendations ng charges o yun nga yung to undergo further investigation, ang sabi dito ni Senator Ping, magpakita raw ng ebidensya. Kasi madali daw magtukoy na bakit wala si ganito, dapat tanggalin si ganyan. Kapag may ganun daw, kailangan magpresenta ng ebidensya. So, ang sabi kasi dito ni Senator Ping, yung direksyon naman talaga at yung magmamanifest doon sa committee report, depende rin talaga yan doon sa naging findings at ebidensya na meron ang Blue Ribbon Committee.
Di ba siya maghahanap ng ebidensya? Kasi yun yung inaasahan sa kanya. Him being a former Philippine National Police Chief. Saka sa flood control, ang ganda nung pag-ano niya, siya yung naghanap talaga. Diba? Nang maiimbestigahan, nung smoking gun, Meron pa siyang video. Parang yan ang expectation ba ng mga tao sa kanya?
Ang nasabi pa nga ni Senator Ping, bukod dito sa inaasahan nating pag-release na no partial and official committee report, parang kailangan na raw i-close yung inquiry on the anomalous flood control projects. Kaya nakikita ni Senator Ping, anytime soon, parang at least one hearing na lang daw ang gagawin ng Blue Ribbon patungkol dito. Pero ang isa pa sa dapat ding i-clarify ni Senator Ping, kasi yung at least 11 signatures, ang i-confirm niya muna raw kanila Senate President Tito Soto, kanila Senator Migs, was dapat bang may galing na pirma from the minority o okay lang ba kung lahat from the majority basta may secured na 11 signatures. Yan yung sa mga kakalaruhin niya. Pero kung sakali na makasecure na ng 11 signatures at maisalang na raw ito sa session, open naman daw, pwede naman mag-introduce yung mga senador from the minority man yan, from the majority man yan, ng amendments or gusto nilang ayusin pa doon sa committee report.
Meron so yung recommendation ng Blue Ribbon Committee, at least their planned final draft will still include the 3 current senators.
Yes, kasama pa rin. Walang tinatanggal pa. Pero doon sa part na dadagdagan, yan yung malalaman natin kapag naglabas na talaga ng official copy. Pero still, yung direct bribery, plunder, or malversation ng public funds, eto umiikot pa rin to dun sa mga unang nakita natin sa nalik na unofficial, at sabi ni Senator Ping, unofficial na copy ng committee report. So that's sina former Senator Bong Revilla, sa mga incumbent senators, sila Senator Joel Villanueva, Senator Jigo Estrada, Senator Chis Escudero. From the House, sina Representative Zaldico, Representative Mishka Hayon. Yung case ni former House Speaker Martin Romualdez, that would be under a different category raw, sabi ni Senator Ping. Depende, yan yung category na nabanggit daw sa mga pagdinig, pero yung corroborative evidence hindi pa sobrang matimbang talaga to directly link them doon sa allegations. Natanong ko rin kanina nung nakapanayam na media si Senator Ping kung babalikan din ba nila yung kay Pangulong Bongbong Marcos na sinasabing nakinabang doon sa kickbacks. Sabi dito ni Senator Ping, mukhang malayo na raw yun. Impeachable case ito, so sa House ito, pero naibasura naman daw nung House Committee on Justice yung impeachment complaint laban sa Pangulo. Bong.
Okay, so para lang malinaw, ang kaibahan lang ngayon ay binago ang lengguwahe, hindi na recommended the filing of charges, but instead recommending further investigation or recommending preliminary investigation. Did I get you right?
Yes, Bong, or undergo case build-up. So doon lang umiikot ngayon yung language, yung wordings nila. Imbes na recommended charges to be filed kasi nga raw, iba raw yung magiging meaning daw noon, connotation sa ordinaryong Pilipino.
Sa bagay, in a way, tama rin naman siya na yung prosecutors yung nagpa-file ng charges eh.
Magki-case build-up.
Oo. Paano di ba, Ami, ano man ang sabihin ng Blue Ribbon Committee report, ipapasa yan doon sa...
Preliminary investigation pa rin yan.
Ipapasa yan sa mga mga prosecutor of mga piskal. At
Yun
pag-aaralan
talaga process.
at case build-up at saka lamang magdidesisyon ang mga prosecutor kung isasampa ang kaso.
Tama naman yun.
Oo.
In fact, baka sabihin sa kanila ng mga prosecutor, government prosecutor, bakit na ba kami inuutusan mag-file? Hindi pa kami nag-iimbestiga. Tama naman yun.
Although, dati na ginagawa ng Blue Ribbon Committee yan recommending the filing of charges
Bumibilis lang yung trabaho ng government prosecutor. Kailangan pa rin reviewin yun ng government prosecutor, lalo na ombudsman. Sigurado, sasabihin niya ni Boying Remulla, bakit nyo kami mamadaliin? Mamaya, hindi ba ang requirement niya? Reasonable certainty of conviction. Baka mamaya, paki-investigasyon nyo. I'm sure sasabihin niya.
Although I suppose this is parang real politic it's a give or take atras
Dahil
siya
sa
ng konti.
Senate nangyayari.
Atras siya ng konti without losing much ground and still hewing to the principles of how the justice system works. But at the same time, covering his base. Kasi
hindi mawawala yung investigasyon niya sa yung recommendation niya.
Kasi nanganib sila last week
Yung findings niya, hindi pwedeng ibasura, ibig sabihin. No? Against yung tatlo na yung for further investigation, yun yung medyo malabo ngayon. Kung hindi niya i-follow up. Meron pang isang report, Merrimon, na i-review daw nila yung role ni President Marcos, di ba? Ano na nangyari doon? Yun ang hinihingi ng minority
Ami, ang nasabi kasi kanina ni Senator Ping was parang malayo na raw yun at malayo na yun, impeachable officer yung presidente, pero na-dismiss na nga raw ng House Committee on Justice yung impeachment complaint. So walang nabanggit kanina si Senator Ping kung may gagawin pa ba sila other than yung ilalabas lang nila sa committee report, or yun na yun, kung ano yung sinabi niya kanina.
Ang minority, walang sinabi, hindi na sila mag-i-insist nun. Kasi yan, yung mga reklamo nila, si President Marcos, si Speaker Romualdez, di ba? Yan yung mga reklamo nila eh.
Ami, ang sabi dito ni Sen Ping, kapag ka nasa session floor na raw, pwede naman daw mag-introduce ng amendments, or kung may ibang queries pa yung mga senador, kahit daw hindi members ng Blue Ribbon Committee, kahit daw hindi nag-participate sa mga hearing, meron naman daw mga transcripts na pwede nilang gamitin as reference. So yun naman din daw yung point kapag kasinalang nasa session floor itong pinaka-committee report.
Pero meron balikan ko lang yung sabi mo about the case of former Speaker Romualdez. Sabi mo, ibang level ang kay Speaker Romualdez. What exactly do you mean? And what kind of recommendations are they making as far as the former Speaker is concerned? Yung paghihimay ba, yung nuancing, what's the difference there?
Ang sabi kasi ni Senator Ping Bok, pagdating doon sa listahan, yung category talaga na nakahiwalay, yung kay former House Speaker Martin Romualdez, nakadepende daw kasi ito sa mga ebidensya, yung corroborative evidence na nagpapakita na may links talaga, hindi lang siya merely allegations or isang beses lang na nabanggit sa pagdinig. Pero yung case kasi ni Speaker Romualdez, siya yung nabanggit ng dating Marina si Orly Gutesa, pero pagdating doon sa corroborative evidence, parang medyo hindi pa siya sapat. Kaya on a different category siya. Kaya nung nakita ng media natin yung unang copy ng unofficial na committee report, parang wala doon sa unang listahan si House Speaker Romualdez. Pero ang sabi naman ni Senator Ping, yun, mapupunta naman daw yun sa ibang category.
Yeah, but what does that mean na mapunta sa ibang category?
For further investigation, di ba? Yun yung classification niya eh.
Walang nasabi si Senator Ping kasi basta ang sinabi niya lang, yung sa case ni Speaker Romualdez, sa ibang kategorya siya malalagay kasi nga nakadepende yon doon sa corroborative evidence na nakuha ng Blue Ribbon Committee.
Okay.
Pero ano nangyari, di ba iniimbestigahan niya yung ownership ng bahay na kung saan allegedly dinala yung pera? Ano na nangyari doon sa investigation na yon?
Ami, sa ngayon wala pang ibang info kasi na nilalabas ang Blue Ribbon or si Sen Ping tungkol dyan. Pero more likely baka makita natin yan sa paglabas ng partial official committee report kung mapapasok man nila yan, or doon sa sinasabi ni Senator Ping na baka isa na lang na pagdinig ng Blue Ribbon Committee before it closes its hearings on the anomalous flood control scandal.
Okay.
Okay.
Maraming salamat sa iyo, Mobile Journal Merimon Reyes reporting live from the Senate. Thank you, Merimon.
Thank you, Marymon.
And now we go to Baguio City, where the Office of the Ombudsman is holding its 2026 Strategic Planning Conference. We bring in mobile journalist Arlos de los Santos. Nako, Arles, nasa Baguio ka pala. Parang ang sarap-sarap naman ng hangin
sarap.
dyan.
Oo nga, sarap ng weather.
Katamtamang panahon, medyo mainit,
Mainit?
yung mataas sa sikat ng araw, pero malamig pa din yung panahon overall.
Ay, naka-jacket ka
pero naka-jacket pa rin tayo kasi malamig pa rin talaga. Pero so far, Bok at Ami, isinagawa nga or nagpapatuloy rather dito sa Baguio City yung strategic planning ng Office of the Ombudsman para sa susunod na 7 taon bilang bahagi ng reforma yan. Ayan nga daw ay para masiguro na nakakasabay o naaayon yung mga pagbabago at takbang ng Office of the Ombudsman sa mga issue na kinaharap ng bansa. Pero alam nyo, isa sa mga kapansin-pansin dito, kumpara sa mga nagdaang araw at buwan na kung saan mas vocal at direct to the point itong si Ombudsman Boyeng Rimulya sa pagbibigay ng mga pangalan at pagbibigay ng mga petsa kung kailan nga ba lalabas yung arrest warrant at patatawag. Ito so far naging matipid yung kanyang mga sagot sa mga tanong natin kanina. Wala siyang naibigay ng mga pangalan at kailan nga ba yung petsa na magiging pag-aresto ng mga hinihintay nga na big fish ng publiko. Ayon sa kanya, nakaredy naman daw yung arresting team at dadating daw yung araw na iyan. At kapag nangyari nga iyon, maaari na raw siyang tanungin. Pero kaugnay doon sa binabanggit ni Merimon na pagbabago nga sa titulo noong partial report ng Senate Blue Ribbon Committee hearing, tinawag ito ni Remulla na just politics. Dahil daw itong mga mambabata sa Senado ay magkakakilala at maaari daw itong mag-usap-usap kung pipirmahan o isasama yung mga pangalan nila at syempre yung mga posibleng kaso na isasampa sa kanila. Pero sa kabila niyan, ginagalang naman daw ni Remulla itong proseso at report ng Senate Blue Ribbon Committee hearing dahil dito rin daw nila kinukuha yung mga impormasyon, yung mga detalye at maging yung mga testigo na talagang nakatutulong sa isinasagawang investigasyon kaugnay sa mga maanomalyang flood control projects ng pamahalaan.
Mhm. Teka, is that your video?
Marvick Leonen.
Oh, katabi niya yung si Justice Leonen? So the
Yes, tama
Supreme
ka
Court
dyan,
is with Remulla?
Yes. Kasama siya sa mga nagbigay ng mensahe kanina dito, Bok. At actually, kasama sa mga nabanggit niya, yung hindi nga daw sagot yung charter change para maresolba yung mga korupsyon at yung mga issue na kinaharap ng bansa. No? At napakarami pang issue. No? Pero kasama din sa nabigyan niya ng diin, yung mga kinaharap din na hamon ng lehislatura. And yung kanilang plano nga na maging digital na yung mga proseso nito, yung e-filing ng mga kaso o mga reklamo, once na lamang magpa-file ng personal or printed copy yung mga kaso, and then yung same day automated raffle ng mga kaso na isinasampa sa Sandigan Bayan, and at least yun yung mga binigay niyang update kanina, no. Pero nakita natin na talagang binigyan din niya na mahalaga yung kampanya ng Office of the Ombudsman lalo dito sa nagpapatuloy na investigasyon ng flood control project sa pamahalaan, gayon din yung pagpapanagot sa mga personalidad nito.
Mhm.
Nagbanggit ba ni Ombudsman kung anong balak niyang gawin kung sakasakaling i-submit na i-forward ng Senate Blue Ribbon yung report sa office?
Wala pang sagot dyan. Kung ano nga yung magiging sunod nilang hakbang, pero kinikilala nila yung kampanya nitong Senate Blue Ribbon Committee, no? Pero binigyan niya nga rin ng pagpuri itong si Senator Ping Lacson na ayon sa kanya naging maayos daw yung pagdaloy ng mga investigasyon at yung report, no? So tatanggapin naman nila ito, pero yung action after noon hindi pa natin sigurado dahil ayon sa Ombudsman sila daw yung maglalatag ng mga ebidensya para nga makatungtong sa susunod na bahagi kundi yung pagpapasa ng mga kaso doon sa Sandigan Bayan.
Pero Bok, wala bang binabanggit si Ombudsman Remulla kung ano yung kanyang pananaw doon sa pagbabago ng lengguwahe doon sa Senate Blue Ribbon Committee report? May sinabi kanina na parang ang reaction niya is, it's just politics. But what exactly does he mean by that?
Yun yung hindi pa natin nalilinaw hanggang ngayon, Bok. Pero at least ang kanyang sinabi kanina, it's just politics. That's just politics. Makakakilala yung mga senador sa loob, yung mga mababatas na pag-uusapan ang mga ganitong bagay. Pwedeng mag-usap kung pipirmahan, yung mga isasamang pangalan, yung mga kaso na ibibigay. And yun yung naging takbo nitong usapan. Kasi tinatanong sana natin siya kung ano nga ba yung magiging hakbang and meron bang update doon sa mga nagpapatuloy na investigasyon na hawak ng Office of the Ombudsman.
Arles, nakausap niyo ba si Marvick Leonen dahil yung speech niya about charter change?
Actually, isa lang yun, Ami, sa mga topic na hinawakan, no, or tinouch nito ni Saj Leonen, no? Pero hindi tayo nagkaroon ng pagkakataon sa kanya na ma-ambush interview. Pero binuksan naman yung floor para sa question and answer part nito kung saan yung ilang mga kawani na present dito, yung sa kanilang strategic planning nakapagtanong naman.
Oh, can you give us a sampling? Ano yung mga naitanong at naisagot? Anything substantial?
At least for yung isa sa mga nagtanong, Bok, yung miyembro ng civil service organization kung ano daw yung pwede nilang gawin dito, no? At least as per Saj Leonen, meron silang kaiba o magkaiba na tungkulin. Siyempre, yung Supreme Court at yung mga mahistrado mahalaga sa pagtukoy at pagbibigay, paglalatag ng mga desisyon sa mga malalaki at importanteng mga kaso. Samantalang yung civil service or civil society groups naman, no, ay may kanilang mga hakbang din para makatulong sa pagreforma o pag-ayos ng iba't ibang mga issue ng bansa. So parang two separate entities na may kanya-kanyang paraan kung paano nga ba makatulong daw sa pag-resolve nitong korupsyon at problema sa bansa.
Okay. Elephant in the room.
Kasi
May nagtanong ba tungkol sa sa desisyon ng Korte Suprema last week dun sa impeachment complaint MR kay Sara Duterte?
Walang nakapagtanong yan, Bok.
Okay.
Kaya tinatanong ko yung charter change kasi yung iba gusto ng charter change to correct judicial overreach.
Correct.
To correct nga yung mga ginawa ng Supreme Court.
So nothing at all with regard to that?
Walang ganon.
Wala na tayo ibang nakuha doon, Bok. Siguro medyo kutob natin magkalapit yon doon sa plano ni SP Soto na parang charter change nga dahil doon sa
Charter
judicial
change.
overreach, no? At least we can just guess, no, dahil on the context ng mga previous happenings doon talaga nakaangkla ito. Then other than that, meron din ibang mga mensahe dito kung saan sinabi at least for attorney Kirby Tayanan, no, na kung saan sinabi niya meron daw ilang tibayan rather, no, na may ibang mga issue pa na or gaps sa bansa natin sa mga batas na umiiral. Wala daw tayong Whistleblower Protection Act para daw maprotektahan yung mga whistleblowers na mahalaga para nga ma-solve, no, or ma-unlock itong mga issue na ito, and then masyado daw mahigpit yung mga batas, yung batas, no, para sa bank secrecy law na nakakaapekto daw, no, sa pagsilip, pag-imbestiga ng mga taga-usig at mga investigator, lalo doon sa mga personalidad na sangkot sa flood control scandal. Then last dyan, syempre, yung tumataas daw na concern doon sa organized crime, no, yung mga personalidad na malalaki may kinalaman dito kung saan hamon daw doon sa pagpapanagot sa mga ito yung paglilink sa kanila ng diretsyo. And kapag may mga allegation, hindi pwedeng hearsay, kailangan direkta yung mga ganong mga alegasyon nang sa gayon ay mapanagot daw yung dapat mapanagot.
Okay. Okay, maraming salamat sa iyo. Arles, mag-uwi ka ng Kulangot.
Ito talaga si Ed.
Baka natatwa yung mga tao dyan. Hindi niya alam kung anong Kulangot, no?
Hindi.
Hindi niya alam ang Kulangot. Kaya talaga, oh.
Ako hindi ko alam.
Uy, hindi ah. Ano,
Hindi ko alam kung ano yun.
ano ba? Henerasyon natin yun eh. Henerasyon natin yun eh.
Hindi ko alam ano yun.
Yung nasa...
Yung sundot.
Oo, sundot Kulangot. Yung
May
nasa maliliit
sundot.
na ano.
Kinabahan ako.
Maliliit.
Sundot ko lang at
Kaya
yung
talaga,
matamis.
Kasi kayo,
Hindi ko
nalimutan
alam yun.
yung ibang henerasyon ni Ami. Sundot Kulangot yung ginagano na
correct.
na matamis. Doon sa maliit na bao.
Ay,
Correct. Parang kawayan ata yun, Bok Ed. Tapos may maliit na
Maliit
stick.
na bilog na parang
Yes.
bao. Hindi na stick. Hindi, kaya nga parang Kulangot kasi ginaganon mo eh.
strawberry lang binibili ko doon sa Baguio.
Sige na nga.
Strawberry.
Palagusin natin si Arles para makahabol sa palengke. Okay, joke lang.
Oo nga. Thank you.
Maraming
Thank
salamat
you,
sa iyo.
Arles.
Mojo Arlos de los Santos, reporting us live from Baguio City. Baka nung iniisip niyo yung pagkain yon, it's parang it's a delicacy. Di ba, Ami?
Parang rice Alam, parang yung bao.
Parang siyang bao, pero maliit lang ng ganun. Tapos ginaganon yun.
Ewan.
Coco jam, yun. It's a kind of coco jam.
Parang coco jam. Oo.
Sorry, okay. I've been corrected. Sundot Kulangot ang tawag. Ano kaibahan nun? Di ganun, nawala lang yung nawala lang yung verb. Ano lang yung noun. Anyway, sige. You're watching Storcon on One News. We need to take a break. We'll be right back. You've got developing news in the stories behind the headlines. Welcome back to StoryCon, the Story Conference. I'm Ed Lingao, and of course, with us, Ami Pamintuan of the Philippine Star. Si Reg is currently in the principal's office. Si Rol Llamas is currently in Japan. Nagliliwaliw sa Japan. Ami, ano mga big stories niyo today? Parang I saw several mga breaking stories or at least medyo big stories. For example, yung LEDAC, nag-LEDAC meeting. And among other things, gusto ng Pangulo by June maipasa ang anti-dynasty bill. Oo.
Saka yung travel tax abolition.
Oo.
Tapos yung fighting fake news.
Fake
Saka
news and digital
expanding
disinformation.
efforts versus online sexual abuse of children. Yan, yung mga mga priority.
That's part of
21
the LEDAC
LEDAC
meeting.
priority bills.
Okay. Sorry, Bok, our guest is already here joining us. House Committee on Public Accounts Chairperson and Justice Committee Member, Congressman Terry Redon. Sir, magandang hapon and thank you for joining us.
Hi,
magandang
Congressman.
hapon. Maraming salamat po sa pag-imbita.
Yes, sir. Sir, sento muna ako doon sa impeachment complaint against President Bongbong Marcos. I understand kahapon pinagbotohan na ng Justice Committee. Pero di ba isasalang pa siya sa plenary for a plenary vote?
The voting is ongoing now as we speak.
Ah,
So,
okay.
naka-roll call na po for voting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it hindi siya viva voce? It's one by one.
It's nominal voting, no? So,
Nominal.
the roll is being called as you speak. So, we'll get the result in a few minutes po siguro.
How's it looking? Would you be able to judge already?
I don't know, but I think all of the major parties had supported dismissal. They had made a manifestation. So I think they won't be able to get a one-third vote, no,
To
of all
overturn.
members to overturn, the approval of the committee report.
Okay. Okay.
Kumusta naman po, Congressman, yung final na yung third impeachment complaint against Vice President Sara Duterte? Kumusta po yun ngayon?
Inakta sa
Na-transmit
speaker.
daw sa Speaker's office.
Opo, na-transmit na po sa Speaker's Office. So, ang expectation po natin, maisasama din po sila, ito pong third impeachment complaint, doon po sa mga mailalatag po sa order of business within the next 10 session days. No? So, we are on our second session day from yesterday. So, I think we have until around the first week of March para doon sa 10th day po ng actual referral to the House plenary ng mga impeachment complaints po na ito.
Justice.
Are you
The House plenary?
Opo. Kailangan mo kasi may
Yung
lagay
kay
sa
Sara-
order of business ng House plenary. Yan.
Yeah.
Opo, ito pong kay VP Sara and then to be referred to the House Committee on Justice. So, the 10th day would fall around the first week of March. So, yun po inaantay po ng plenaryo.
But are you hearing any word of a fourth impeachment complaint or hanggang dyan na lang sa tatlo?
No, I don't know. No? Pero like what I stated previously, all the complaints naman po can proceed simultaneously with the one-third majority endorsement of an express route to the Senate. So all of these things can happen for as long as there is no direct referral yet to the House Committee on Justice.
How likely, sir, is that to happen? That second route, that direct one-third vote. How?
Yes.
If you look at the numbers, at least from your perspective, how likely is that?
Well, I think depende na ho talaga doon sa appetite ng mga miyembro, no, on whether they want to do the express route like they had previously done before, or they would want to undertake yung House Committee on Justice route. No? So, ngayon naman, wala pa naman ho kaming nakikitang movement, no, na nagpapapirma for an express route transmittal. Pero again, that is on the table, is what I wanted to say. Ibig sabihin, just because you have three impeachment complaints doesn't preclude resorting to the express route. One-third of House members actually sign draft articles of impeachment.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, I'm asking that, sir, kasi basically, these are basically the same, more, except for the Madriaga issue, these are basically the same issues from the previous impeachment complaints that were junked by the Supreme Court. So, given that fact, I'm wondering lang, what the temper do you think of the House is as far as that is concerned?
Well, that's correct. No, most of the charges are the same except for the Madriaga affidavit. But of course, you have an entirely different set of House members, no? So parang may mga bagong one-third of all House members na mga first-termers. So they will have to look at the evidence and the allegation once again. So however they will look at it, whether through the express route or through the House Committee on Justice, we will see in the next 10 session days. No? Actually, 9 session days na lang from today.
Saka yung Supreme Court ruling, Ed, in-emphasize naman nila, it's not on the merits. Di ba?
Yeah, not the merits.
Kahit medyo pareho yan.
It's on the
Pero
the
tanong ko,
timelines.
Congressman, do you need to consolidate? Meron bang ganon? Na tatlong complaint yan, iko-consolidate pa ba yan?
Wala pa naman, no? Well, in the previous Marcos complaint, no, we didn't consolidate
Yes.
naman po. So it was discussed separately, yung pong two complaints, no? So it was dismissed also separately. So we had separate votes for it.
Yes.
Pero dito po sa committee report, pinagsama na lang ho sila. So there's just one committee report reporting that the complaints had in fact been dismissed.
Pero sir, I think what I'm trying to ask is,
Yeah.
if it does move forward, yung impeachment complaints against VP Sara, if there is a finding of sufficiency of form and substance, what happens ba? Does the Justice Committee
Kaya nga.
consolidate the three or more into one, or
Kasi
hiwa-hiwalay na rin
kay
siya?
President Marcos, hiniwalay, di ba? Hindi siya kinonsolidate.
Pero kasi nireject naman sila eh. So, di ba? It's really moot eh.
No, so I think once we reach that point, no, baka it's a bit premature to even discuss it at this point kasi we wanted to do the step by step, no, the form, substance, and if we find a finding of substance there, doon po sa asking the respondent to answer, and then doon kami mag-decide kung i-consolidate pa namin yung pong mga complaints po na ito.
Ami,
Pero
breaking
just
story
in
lang, Ami.
case, Congressman,
Ami, may breaking story.
Ayan na,
The
ayan,
plenary
okay.
has adopted the resolution of the Justice Committee dismissing the
Yes.
complaint against President Bongbong Marcos, the impeachment complaint against President Bongbong Marcos. I don't think lang we have the numbers yet, pero mukhang ina nga, inadopt na ang resolution ng Justice Committee to
Yes.
dismiss.
although it's not
Yeah, so,
surprising. Are you surprised, Congressman?
Hindi naman ho. I think the president continues to hold a supermajority in Congress in terms of voting, no? But secondly, I think in terms of yung discussions naman po on form and substance, that has been exhaustively discussed, no? Na talaga hong it would not actually get majority support.
Sir, pero as far as yung VP impeachment complaints are concerned, without going into the timelines and the procedurals, how do you view Congress's temper, the temper of the members of Congress now, both the old and the new? Do you think there's a chance that you can get a 1/3 vote there, or kasi the last time, the last year's impeachment complaint, 200 plus ang bumoto
Yes.
for the
so-
impeachment.
So that's more than 2/3 of Congress. Actually. Almost 3/4 po of
2/3.
Congress. But, pero ang totoo naman, like what we had undertaken po in the House Committee on Justice proceedings, it will be based on facts and the evidence and the conscience of each House member. No? So we will leave it to them, actually. Pero tingin ko naman, kung hindi naman masyado nagbago, yung pong mga ebidensya noong nakaraang taon at yung taon pong ito, tingin ko hindi dapat masyado magbago rin yung mga pagtingin ng pong mga miyembro po ng Kongreso.
Kung sakasakala hindi nag-consolidate, pwede nyo namang i-transmit through the second mode directly, no, to the Senate, kahit isa dun sa tatlong complaint.
Pagka may express mode, no, that will require an entirely
Yes.
separate complaint po. Oo. So, pwede nyo lang pagsamasamahin ho lahat ng mga binanggit ho in the first 3 complaints, no? And
Yes.
there will be an entirely new draft articles of impeachment, which would need to be signed by 1/3 of all House members and deliberated upon and approved by plenary.
Sir, we have the vote already. 284 congressmen voted
Wow.
in favor of the committee report junking the impeachment
Yeah.
complaint against
Ang taas nun.
the president for lack of form and substance. 8 ang against the Justice Committee report and 4 ang abstentions. 284 ang affirmative.
Mataas yun.
ang
Actually,
taas,
mas mataas po yun dun sa boto to transmit the Duterte impeachment complaint last year. So,
Yeah.
I think it's a combination of multi-party support and siyempre, yung talagang pinagsama yung exhaustive discussions on the matter.
Parang last year, 215 lang ata eh. Yung, well, may dumagdag nga lang, may mga humabol. Pero initially, 215 lamang yung pumirma doon sa fast track impeachment.
Tama po. So yan, I think malaking ano ho yan talaga. I think it's a testament of the President's support in
Overwhelming,
Congress.
ano? Yun ang tatanong ko sana, that it's indicative nga, no, of the support that the President continues to enjoy sa super majority niya sa House. Tama po ba yung perception na yan?
Sir,
Okay, tama.
yes, sir. Good.
Tama po yun. Pero syempre, ibang bagay yung Duterte impeachment complaint. No? So, maraming,
Yes.
hindi lang yan. Obviously, impeachment it's a legal, it's a constitutional, but it's also a political
Yes.
process. No? So, kumbaga, we will see as soon as we get to that point kung magbabago rin ho ba yung mga numero nito pong ano. So, it's basically reflective of, syempre, nag-iisip din naman ho yung mga kongresista doon sa mga
Oo.
pinagbobotohan po nilang mga panukalan.
Well, apart from the Duterte issue, merong mga nagsasabi na may impact din daw yung ongoing investigation into the budget and flood control scandal. Tama po ba yun? Meron bang impact yun? Dito sa botohan kay Vice President, ha? Vice President, impeachment.
Tingin ko wala naman, no? Tumatakbo naman ho yung mga investigasyon irrespective of yung pong mga pananaw at paninindigan ho sa impeachment, eh. So, sa totoo lang, kapag naman talaga kung nakatali halimbawa sila sa isang skandalo sa flood control corruption, wala naman ho tayong magagawa. Kung talaga kung makakasuhan ho sila o hindi, kung nandyan po yung ebidensya. So, it's difficult to conflate it with
Yes.
yung mga votes, no, for any of the impeachment processes that we have.
Sir,
Okay.
kasi we're not lawyers, eh, but can I just get a layman's answer to this question? Sige, so you already have 3 impeachment complaints sa Speaker's Office against VP Sara Duterte. In the event na gustong in the event na may 1/3 of congressmen who want to file a new complaint through the fast track method or the second method in the Constitution, that's a separate complaint, diba?
Tama po, tama.
Until when can they do that? Kasi for example, if the three impeachment complaints are already referred to the Justice Committee, pwede pa ba mag fourth
Well-
complaint with the second method or already
Wala na.
Hindi na.
Barred na po 'yon kasi yung pong
Initiated
po,
na.
initiated na po yung impeachment proceedings. No? So, the 1-year bar will arise na po pagka nagkaroon na ng referral to the House Committee on Justice.
So if
So, hindi na
anybody
pwede. Barred na yung barred na yung express route pagka meron na pong transmittal to the House Committee on Justice. Pero for as long as wala pong transmittal,
Yeah.
that remains on the table.
Okay, para klaro. So kung may gustong humabol, whether it's a second fast track route or the first original route, you have to do it bago ma-refer ang alinman sa tatlo doon sa Justice Committee.
Okay, tsaka before yung lapsing po ng 10 session
And the 10 session
as
days.
defined by the Supreme
Opo.
Court. So, ibig sabihin, for example, today, it's a Tuesday, we just have 9 session days left.
Mhm.
So, may TikTok ho, may time. Time-bound ho talaga lahat ng actions, whether it's the express route or ito pong referral po the House Committee on Justice.
So those two elements, yung 10 session days at yung referral to the Justice Committee. Kung malagpasan mo ang alinman sa dalawang yon, hindi ka na pwedeng maghabol whether it's the first or the second route.
Hindi kasi alam mo, pagka nag-lapse ho yung 10 session days nang walang referral, ang tawag ho ng Supreme Court doon, deemed initiated.
Yeah,
Yung
because it
pong
was
proceeding. So,
dismissed.
the 1-year bar will rise pagka ho ganun.
Mhm.
So, etong kay President Marcos, kailan yung one-year bar niya exactly nagumpisa?
January 26 po. It was the day of the referral to the
Referral.
House Committee on Justice.
Ah,
Opo.
okay.
So, it will, the opening will be on the 27th of Jan next year, 2027.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
Ayan. One year siyang ano.
At least that's clear, sir. Pero sir, may other question is this yung consolidation, can the Justice Committee consolidate the 3 into one new complaint without violating the bar? Or how does that work?
Oo nga.
Hindi.
Paano yung
Ano yan?
computation nun?
Naman, irrelevant na ho yung consolidation. Basta 1-year bar will always be dependent on the date of referral.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Ibig
So,
sabihin,
ibig sabihin, yung consolidation, that can actually happen after na po yung a determination of sufficiency in substance.
okay. Okay. So, pwedeng yung committee, pwedeng balangkasin ang tatlo into a new one
Pwede po, pwede yon after sufficiency in substance.
without violating the 1-year bar.
Basta irrelevant yung consolidation question doon sa 1-year bar. So, ang importante lang ho sa 1-year bar, yung 10 session days at yung pong kailan nag-refer po to the House Committee on Justice.
Yes, sir. Well, I get you, sir.
Yan,
I was wondering lang kasi if you consolidate kasi, isn't that an entirely new Hindi naman. A new complaint?
Baka, yan yung tinatanong.
Baka
Kasi
mamaya
baka
hindi naman.
may issue na naman yan
nasa ano na tayo
Mga
yan eh.
abogado.
Nasa, within the process na ho of the impeachment proceeding na ho yun eh. So, parang embrace na ho siya nung one impeachment proceedings. Kung whatever you do, for as long it is a one impeachment proceeding for an entire year, yan na po yun.
Okay.
Okay. Sige.
So,
Hindi
medyo
ka
malinaw
na
na.
technical. Baka ma-technical na naman
Eh
yan.
kasi na-technical the last time eh. So might as well get down to
Oo
the
nga.
to the nuts and bolts of the technicalities eh.
Oo. So mukhang
To be
mukhang
clear,
congressman, you can work with the Supreme Court ruling naman, ano?
Yeah. No problem ho. No problem. Actually,
Oo.
whether naman ho, we consolidate or we do it separately, doesn't really matter to the
Yeah.
Committee on Justice. So, kasi sa dulo naman, it will have a singular committee report which will be approved or disapproved by plenary. So that will also determine whether it will proceed to the Senate to trial. No? So by that time, siguro we'll talk again kung ano ho yung abutin po niyan.
Ha.
And the committee report is the basis for the articles of impeachment, di ba? Once it's approved.
Tama po. So for example, itong sa Marcos impeachment complaint, pagka nakakuha ho yung pong mga House members po na ayaw sa committee report na yan, that will have to go back to the House Committee on Justice and we have to do a draft articles of impeachment
Yeah.
then it will proceed to trial.
Okay.
Okay. Ano pa?
Okay.
Cambio
Okay
naman
na.
tayo bang issue?
Sige,
Sir.
iba na.
Yung anti-dynasty bill.
Oo nga eh. Sabi ni President Marcos sa LEDAC eh. Sabi nila, mukhang gusto daw niyang mapasa before, I think,
Before,
State of the
before
Nation
adjourn.
address, ano? Oo, may pag-asa ba yun? Yung anti-dynasty, medyo matindi. Yung ibang mga legislative priorities niya, mukhang okay naman, pero yun lang ang medyo contentious, ano? Are you that optimistic as well, Congressman?
Well, ngayong araw, nag-hearing po yung Committee on Suffrage. So, sure, tuloy-tuloy po yung proceedings on political dynasty. Ang debate naman ho talaga dyan yung details na ho on what constitutes a
Definition.
dynasty,
Mhm.
who are prohibited candidates, no? Pagka ho, may
Yes.
ano ba yan, within the fourth degree ba yan or within the second degree? So,
Oo.
I think ultimately that will be the debate at the level of the committee and at the level of plenary. Pero on the question as to whether will we have a anti-political dynasty law within the year, I think that is the commitment of the President and that is the commitment of the LEDAC.
So you're confident that we will have an anti-dynasty law. Yun lang, the details or the devil in the details, we
Yun na
still
nga.
have to see.
So,
Kasi wala kami, at this point, Congressman, matagal nang pinag-uusapan eh. At this point, wala kami makitang parang nabubuong consensus anywhere kung ano talaga ang kalalabasan ng bill na yun.
Ano talaga yan? The fight will be in the committee. So, ang question lang naman ho dyan, ilan ba yung gustong matira sa dinastiya? So, for example, if you have 10
Yeah.
in a dynasty, katanggap-tanggap pa halimbawa na ang matitira doon ay 7 lang. Hindi ba? O dapat mga lahati man lang sila. Yung mga ganun, I think yan ho yung mga pinagdedebatihan at the level of the committee and ultimately at the level of plenary.
Tsaka sir, hindi lang yung definition, but as well yung
Succession.
scope or scale eh. For example, pag magkakaiba bang jurisdiction, papayagan? Pag ibang probinsya, papayagan sila? Or isa lang national, isa lang local? May ganung usapin din eh. Hindi lang yung pang ilang degree of consanguinity and affinity, but also kung hanggang anong level ng national or local governance
Government.
papayagan. Di ba? Kasi sa local governments lang, ang dami mong level eh. So may mga paghihimay-himay.
Regional, provincial, hanggang barangay.
Municipal,
Hanggang
pagkonsehal.
barangay.
Ang mangyari ho talaga dyan, ang debate dyan, provision per provision. Kung alin ho yung tatagpasin, ano yung idadagdag. Ano ho yan, hindi yan ganun simple na usapin. No? Tama yung binabanggit po ninyo. Kasi for example, in the House version, parang lugi yung mga national officers. Kasi halimbawa doon, parang pagka magkapatid kayo,
Hindi pwede.
isang tao na lang. Oo, isang tao na lang pwedeng makaupo ron, no? Yung mga ganun ng mga versions, no? So, ultimately, the committee will decide and very important po yung participation ng publiko. Kasi alam niyo naman, marami yung talagang dinastiya sa Kongreso at Senado. So yung pong magtitilt ng balance that we will have a better anti-political dynasty law would be the participation of the public in the debate.
Okay.
Ugi? Ami? Yan pa?
Okay na.
Okay. Okay, we'd like to say thank you to Bicol Saro Party List Congressman Terry Ridon. Sir, thank you po for joining us this afternoon and magandang hapon po.
Thank you,
Maraming salamat.
Congressman.
Magandang hapon.
And of course, we are on until 5:30. Meron pa tayong 26 minutes to go. Starcon will be right back after a quick break. Please stay tuned. It's the last stretch of the program. Welcome back to Storycon, the Story Conference. I'm Ed Lingao with Philippine Star Editor-in-Chief Ami Pamintuan. And also joining us this afternoon, Attorney J. Batong Bakal, Director po ng UP Institute for Maritime Affairs and the Law of the Sea. Sir, welcome back to Storycon and good to see you again.
Hi, Attorney.
Hi, sir.
Nakamute
Mute
po
ata
kayo, Attorney.
Sorry, nakamute pala. Hi, Ed and Amy, and to all our viewers, good day to you all.
Sir, paano kayo magdedebate kung
Parang
nakamute kayo?
naka-filter. Oo nga, parang kang avatar ah.
Ganun ba? Ako lang.
Oo nga. Naka-filter yata yan ah.
Filter? I never
Hindi
use
naman.
anything. Oh.
Hindi naman. Ano, ba't kulay
Eh,
ba?
dito sa monitor nakikita ko oh. Ayan oh.
Yung
sige na,
background.
sige na.
Sir,
Game ka na.
paano kayo magdedebate kung nakamute kayo?
Oo nga eh.
Kibit balikat lang.
Hindi naman ako nakamute na.
Joke lang yan, joke lang yan. Oh,
Hindi, okay na.
joke lang yan, sir. But of course, I'm sure you heard about Senator Marcoleta's statement yesterday, challenging, of course, among other people, you, Tariela, and
Yes.
Justice Antonio Carpio to a debate on the West Philippine Sea. Of course, we want to
Yeah.
go into the details na ano ba talaga pinagtatalunan dito and ano yung mga nuancing. But before we get to that important portion, tanong ko muna sa inyo, would you want to go for it? Kasi si Justice
Payag ba
Carpio
kayo?
Justice Carpio said, go na eh.
Payag.
Well,
Payag siya.
immediate reaction ko is ano bang gusto niyang i-debate in the first place, no? Kasi if it's about the sovereignty, rights and entitlements of the Philippines, its jurisdictions in the West Philippine Sea, its rights to the Kalayaan Island Group, hindi yan subject of debate dapat, no? Lalo na siya, senador siya, no? These are all enshrined in our laws and in our constitution. You should know that. So sino siya para i-debate yon, di ba? So sabi ko nga, kung ganyan yung topic, that's not a matter for debate, no? Kung gusto niyang pag-usapan ibang bagay, no, at malinawan siya dun sa mga sinasabi niya na mali naman, ay yon, sige, pwede, pero hindi yan debate. Hindi yan, basta yung posisyon ng Pilipinas, hindi yan dapat sa subject matter of debate. Lalo na kung senador ka,
Sir,
dapat alam mo yon in the first place.
Yes, sir. Sir, if you don't call it a debate, if you call it a discussion,
A discussion is fine. I mean, we're always open to discussions naman, di ba? And we've been through several briefings, for example, sa ating Senate, lalo na nung ginagawa pa yung Maritime Zone Act at Archipelagic Sea Lane Act. No? So we did our job naman of briefing the senators when requested and enlightening them on questions that they asked. No? So okay lang yon.
Wala naman daw West Philippine Sea. Attorney.
Oo,
Anong sagot
kasama
mo?
na doon. Pero yun nga, basta kung ang gusto niyang i-debate, kung tama siya na walang West Philippine Sea, na hindi yan kinikilala or
Oo.
dapat nasa loob niyan yung mga isla. Pag yung ganon, hindi yung tamang matter for debate, no? Because those are matters that should be of record na, no? At siya bilang senador, he swore an oath to defend the Constitution and uphold all its laws, no? Comply with it basically. Lahat yan nasa batas na hindi lang sa domestic law kundi sa international law. So he's not one to question and put that matter up for debate.
although sir, there's an appeal made by Senator Ping Lacson to you and to Tony Carpio, and I'll quote, an earnest appeal to Justice Tony Carpio and Attorney J. Batong Bakal let us spare our countrymen, especially our kababayans from Barangay Pag-asa, KIG, Palawan, from the agony of another pointless debate that might put into question their basic right of abode. Ayan, and that, you can see it on the screen.
Tama yun. Tamang punto yun. Kaya nga sinasabi ko rin, no? Anong didibatihin ba? Di ba? Lalo na kung the very existence of the Kalayaan Island Group, the validity of our people stay there, the validity of our jurisdictions in that area, di ba? According to international law, yung nga sinasabi ko, hindi yan dapat dinidebate.
Pero at this point, attorney, ang pinag-uusapan ngayon yung code of conduct eh. Kasi
Opo.
both sides are saying we should be moving forward while managing. Hindi naman sinasabing resolving the dispute, kundi managing. Along this line, anong nakikita niyo yung feasible? Kasi syempre hardline tayo, pati rin sila eh. Ano kaya yung doon? Yung managing, how best to manage this?
Well, in the first place, how best to manage these interactions at sea, syempre, is dapat balik tayo sa dati na kumbaga live and let live, walang banggaan, walang water cannonan, walang laseran, di ba? Hindi natin ginagawa yun eh. No? At isa pa, walang ubusan ng lahi pagdating dun sa mga pangisdaan at mga bahura doon. Yun ang problema natin eh. If you will look at the records of all our negotiations with China, mula pa noong 1990s, nung talagang medyo umpisang uminit to, malinaw na lagi ang problema ng Pilipinas sa China ay yung mga ginagawa ng kanilang mga isda na sinisira yung bahura, no, binabawasan yung pangisdaan, no? At lalo na yung mga pagsira sa coral, no? Malinaw yun, paulit-ulit yun na kino-complain ng Philippine side, and yet yung kabila walang nangyayari lagi. Kasi nga hindi na tama yun eh. Supposedly, di ba, kung sincere kang makikipag-negotiate ng settlement in the future, kung sincere kang dapat maging maayos yung relationship yung dalawa dito sa isang area na in dispute, di ba, dapat you leave that in a way na talagang it continues to benefit both sides, di ba? Tayo nga yung mga inoccupy nating mga isla, hindi naman natin sila sinira, and in fact pinangangalagaan pa rin natin. Yung isang isla is a bird sanctuary, no? Yung iba still in their pristine condition, pati yung vegetation hindi natin talaga man lang dinevelop, no? Yung Pag-asa Island lamang ang talaga nakakita ng infrastructure development. Pero the rest talagang they're still more or less in the same condition as they were when we started there, no? Talagang masasabi natin na these were under stewardship, and kahit ba siya in the future kung sakaling malasin tayo na masabing hindi sa atin yan, ay mabibigay natin ng maayos yan. Hindi kagaya ng ginagawa nitong China na winawasak lahat ng bahura, no? Tinatayo nitong mga artificial island nila, no? At walang tinitira para sa iba, no? Lahat inaangkin nila at kinukuha nga nila, no? So itong code of conduct sana yun yung intention na ma-preserve mo ng status quo para maging mas maayos ang relationship ng mga claimants, no? Alam natin na tumatalab yan sa mga Southeast Asian countries kasi kahit sa Malaysia at Vietnam and Brunei, kahit tayo may mga disputes against each other, maayos naman yung relasyon natin pagdating dyan sa West Philippine Sea. Itong China lang yung talagang laging problema, hindi lang natin kundi ng iba ring claimants katulad ng Vietnam at pati na nga Indonesia nasasali tuloy eh. So,
pero may mga concern ngayon na kapag na-finalize yung code of conduct, which might happen this year dahil nag-host tayo ng ASEAN, it might legitimize daw the status quo nga na legitimize the occupation, the artificial island building of China. Valid ba yung observation na yan?
Valid yon yung concern na yon, no? And I'm sure binabantayan din yan, no? Nung sa mga tao natin sa DFA na nagni-negotiate nga doon sa code of conduct. Alam nila yan dahil may makausap na ako sa kanila, and ano naman, nakikinig naman sila pag nire-raise yung mga concerns katulad niyan. Ang binabantayan talaga natin ay hindi maging excuse nga itong code of conduct para hindi lang ma-legitimize yung China, kundi maging excuse siya para parang i-exclude itong area, buong area na to ng West Philippine Sea at South China Sea from the rest of international law, no?
Yeah.
maging tinatawag na regional international law yan because of this agreement. Definitely binabantayan po yan.
Kasi halimbawa yung Panganiban Reef, it's specifically mentioned dun sa arbitral ruling that we have
Opo.
sovereign rights over it.
Opo.
Pero naggawa na sila dun ng artificial island, it's a reef.
Yes.
Pero ngayong may artificial island dyan, ano na yung definition yan?
Well,
Diba?
artificial
At saka
island pa
hindi
rin
na
po
natin
siya.
sila
Wala pa rin
mapapalis.
entitlement.
Wala pong change sa kanyang legal status. Yun ay malinaw. At hindi talaga tayo papayag na ma-recognize siya bilang isang full-fledged island, no? Na may territorial sea. Artificial siya, therefore, ang entitlement lang niya at most, kung meron man, ay isang safety zone, but even then, hindi natin tatanggapin na napuntayan sa kanila. No? Ganun po yung magiging position natin dyan.
Pero sir, one of
Pero
the concerns...
develop na siya.
Oo nga eh.
Develop na siya. Meron ng barracks doon. I think
Opo.
they already have a dock, no? May port na sila doon for their
Opo.
naval vessels. Kompleto na siya.
Opo, it is a full-blown military base. Air and naval base. Yun po ang reality. Kaya nga sa ngayon, hindi naman natin masosolve lahat ng issue at problema sa isang iglap, no? Pero at least ang gusto natin ngayon ay talagang hindi magkaroon ng legitimacy yung ginawa nila dyan at nung status ng isla na yan.
Yes, sir. But sir, to that point nga the concern with any future agreement is that it is prospective, not retrospective. In other words, a code of conduct will probably define what else can be done in the area, but will probably not touch anymore on what had been done.
Kaya nga.
Kasi can you really expect ASEAN to agree to a code of conduct where it says na, hindi, umalis kayo dyan.
Opo.
So that will be our biggest conundrum na there's a huge chance na any code of conduct will only be prospective and not retroactive, in which case kumbaga kung ano nandyan na.
Opo. Totoo po yun. At kasama nga po yan dun sa challenge ng ano bang pag-uusapan at anong pagkakasunduan natin dito sa Code of Conduct na ito. Yung mga ganyang bagay na malamang nga hindi na talaga maremedyohan, no? Maaring ang yung fear or yung concern nga na ma-legitimize siya, no? Pero at least on our part, hindi natin papayagan yon na maging legal or yung tawag natin de jure yan. De facto lang yan. Nandyan nga siya, it's only because it's a reality na at this point, hindi natin siya matungkab, hindi natin siya matatanggal. Pero hindi yan magiging legal ever, no? As far as we are concerned. In the meantime, ang pinaka-objective ngayon nung Code of Conduct ay ma-regulate yung future interactions ng mga claimants at magkaroon sana ng mekanismo para ma-address, no, kung sakaling mayroong hindi magandang interaction, ma-address agad yon para hindi siya mag-escalate, para hindi siya lalong lumala. No? So parang yun na yung best case scenario natin dyan sa Code of Conduct na yan.
Yes, sir. Sir, the other controversial thing is what Senator Marcoleta said nung commission appointments hearing nung Wednesday. And I'll quote it na lang para we're not taken out of context. This is about the Kalayaan Island Group or KIG. Ano ba talaga pagpapatayan natin? We will offer our lives and the lives of our children to die for it for something that is not even within our EEZ. Ang gawin natin po para madali, i-give up natin ang KIG. That's the direct quote. Although later on, Marcoleta would say na the context of his statement was abbreviated. In other words, I suppose he's trying to say na he was taken out of context. But how do you respond to that, to that statement?
Magdebate silang dalawa. Yung Marcoleta nung Monday, Marcoleta nung Wednesday. Sila na lang magdebate. Sa akin, malinaw naman anong out of context doon. Sinabi niya, it's one complete sentence, kumbaga. There is a subject, there's a predicate.
Oo nga.
Wala ko nakikitang out of context doon sa sinabi niya. No? Ang nakikita kong out of context is sinabi niya yon doon sa commission on appointments sa hearing. Yun ang wala sa lugar. Pero kasalanan na niya yon. no? Pero malinaw, parang ang implication niya, komo yung malayo yung lugar, hindi dapat natin panindigan at ipaglaban, no? At komo yung lugar ay nasa labas daw ng EEZ, ipamigay na, parang yun nga, i-give up na lang natin. Walang connection yun no? Yung ating interest dun sa isla, yung karapatan at soberenya natin dun sa isla ay dahil nandun tayo. Hindi dahil nasa loob siya ng EEZ. No? Walang relasyon yun. Kaya hindi yun valid reason. Kaya yun nga, nagugulat din at medyo yun nga, naiinis din ako na anong klaseng dahilan yan? No?
It's by dint of effective control, not because of inclusion the EEZ. I'm talking about Pag-asa
Opo.
Island because it is not in our
Opo.
EEZ nga naman.
Opo.
Sir, well, I think that's the other thing that gets confusing for some people. Kasi Kalayaan Island Group or KIG, a part of it is in our EEZ. But a
Yes,
part of
opo.
it is not. Like for example nga yung Pag-asa Island, nasa labas na yun ng ating EEZ. So iba yung I suppose iba yung ating ang ating claim for certain areas for different reasons. Like for example, Pag-asa
Yes.
because of effective control since 1971. The others because they're in our EEZ, I suppose, or because we also
Hindi
have
po.
effective control.
Hindi po. Una, basta lupa, gaya ng isla, bato, it is by virtue of effective control and occupation.
Apo.
Preceded by whatever, history, etc. Basta, ang importante, we have been exercising sovereignty, full and effective sovereignty over that area, yung land area na yon, for a long time. Yun ang evidence mo that this place is under your sovereignty. No, that you can exercise all the rights of a sovereign over that area. The fact na ginawa natin siyang munisipyo, no? At may mga taong nakaretira doon, mga civilian, yan ay pruweba
May
na
election.
under our effective sovereignty talaga yung area na yan. Iba yan doon sa karapatan natin sa katubigan sa paligid niya.
Yan ang EEZ.
Dahil para doon, EEZ, Territorial Sea, ang nagdidetermine nun ay yung UNCLOS. So, it's a separate body of the law. It's the law of the sea.
Yes,
no?
sir.
Hindi law of the land. Law of the sea. Magkahiwalay talaga yan. At ayon sa UNCLOS, nga, kung meron kang sovereignty sa isang piece of land na may karagatan sa paligid, then pwede kang magkaroon ng territorial sea una. Yan, kakabit talaga yan nung fact of sovereignty over the land. Tapos, pwede ka rin magkaroon ng exclusive economic zone, continental shelf, contiguous zone. Depende ngayon doon sa situation.
Kung ikaw ay island or rock. Yeah.
Oo, so hiwalay 'yon, no? Kaya hindi mo dapat sinasabi na kung nasa labas ng EEZ yung isla, hindi na sa atin yan o hindi na dapat natin claim yan o dapat i-give up na lang natin yan. Hindi yun konektado Hindi yun ang tamang rason, no?
Sir, ako, last question na lang. Then baka si Ami may pahabol. Of course, you talked about effective control, effective occupation, and that's what we have with the features that we already occupy there. Can China say the same thing about, for example, yung mga artificial islands niya doon sa West Philippine Sea area, doon sa ating EEZ?
Yung artificial islands, hindi. Kasi in the first place, it is not an island. No? It is not land territory that can be the subject of appropriation and effective control and occupation. Yung Mischief Reef, particularly, ang finding dyan is it was part of the sea. Wala talagang isla, wala man lang
Reef.
bato yan.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
Kaya hindi pwedeng i-claim ngayon na ineffectively occupy and control mo yan as if it were land territory. Okay? Kailangan meron silang high tide elevation o kaya meron silang islang hawak talaga para masabi nilang they effectively controlled it. Pero para dyan, ang posisyon naman ng Pilipinas ay hindi yan sa inyo kasi bago kayo dumating dyan para mag-occupy at control, nandun na kami. No? So, yun yung pwedeng pagtalunan o pag-usapan sa isang korte o kaya sa isang negotiation. Partiyan ng mga arguments na pwede nyong pagpalitan para magkaroon kayo ng settlement.
Okay. Ami?
Ako. Habol ko lang, yung Coast Guard patrol ba is innocent passage?
Well, depende po yan kung nasaan. Kasi ang innocent passage, pwede lang yan i-claim kung nasa loob ka ng territorial sea. That is a right.
Outside the territorial sea.
Outside the territorial sea, freedom of navigation po ang applicable.
Kasi yun yung sinasabi ng China eh. Reklamo daw tayong reklamo pag dumadaan sila doon sa outside our territorial sea, which is 12 nautical miles. Pero sabi nila, they're just exercising innocent passage.
Right? In the first place, hindi innocent passage dapat ang kiniklaim nila. No?
Mm.
Pangalawa, kasi naman, alam natin na kaya sila naglalayag dyan, hindi para lamang dumaan, no? Kundi para mag-exercise ng jurisdiction. No?
Yun ang
Yun ang hindi
tinatanong ko,
tama.
it's a patrol.
Opo,
It's
it's
a
a
patrol.
patrol.
So,
At pag
innocent
merong
passage
lumapat
pa
sa
yun.
kanila, sinasabi nila yun eh. Na these waters
Oo.
are under Chinese jurisdiction. No? So yun ang ating tinutuloy sa doon.
Mm. Okay. Sige.
Okay.
Di bali sana kung nagdadaan lang silang tahimik eh. Pero ito talagang patrol at
Pinabomba tayo.
Naharang pa eh.
So, innocent passage is only used when you are passing through territorial waters in 12 nautical miles of another country.
Outside.
Opo.
If it's within the
Outside.
EEZ of another country, that's freedom of navigation pa.
Freedom of navigation po. So,
Freedom of
sige,
navigation.
magdaan ka lang. Basta nagdadaan ka
Oo.
lang.
Basta lang hindi ka mag-exploit dahil hindi naman
Opo.
yung EEZ.
You have to respect the
Oo.
easy rights of the country kasi. No? So yun, pwede yun.
Hindi kailangan mag-alert dun sa country.
Hindi sana, no? Kasi kung yun na, again, that's now a matter of trust and confidence between the two countries involved, no?
Mm.
Hindi natin pinoproblema yung ibang bansa kasi nga hindi naman nila kiniklaim yung area na yan, no?
Mm.
Kung meron man na tayong binabantayan, syempre pag nagkakaroon tayo ng mga reports na baka yung barko na yon ay engaged in illegal activity like smuggling, ganon, then pwede mo siyang i-surveillance, bantayan mo siya na hindi siya pumasok sa loob ng territorial sea mo. O kaya,
Or
kung
poaching.
merong international na effort, maari siguro, no, na i-challenge mo, bantayan mo hanggang talagang lumayo, pwedeng ganon, no?
Okay. Okay. Maraming salamat for joining us this afternoon. Attorney J. Batong Bakal, Director po ng
Welcome po.
UP Institute for Maritime Affairs and the Law of the Sea. Sir, thank you for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you,
Welcome,
Attorney.
Ed and Amy. And good to see you again. Lahat po ng mga nanonood.
Thanks, sir.
magandang gabi po.
And thank you for joining Storycon today. Aming pamintuan ng bossing ng Philippine Star. Join us again tomorrow at 4 p.m. for Storycon. I'm Ed Lingao. Kapatid, we are one news, all sides, all the time.
This is the Story Conference Group or the Storycon Group.